Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel. We are on, yes, you guessed it, we're on Coldborough Park Farm. What an amazing map this is. It was released for Farming Sim 17 just before Christmas, and I have spent just a little bit of time, a couple of hours, getting things set up sort of the way that I like to have them, and I'm more or less treating this as somewhat of a continuation of my Farming Sim 15 Let's Play with Coldborough Park Farm, even though I recorded some of those episodes, oddly enough, but I never got around to putting them on YouTube. It was kind of before I started my YouTube, at least my Let's Play series, but I had recorded a whole bunch of stuff on Coldborough Park Farm and just never uploaded it, never edited it, never uploaded it. And but here we are in early spring. We are in day one, and let me just pull up the information here so that you kind of see. And you know, this is quite cool because, you know, most maps when you start them up, Old Springs was this way, even Goldcrest, even Stevie's edit of Goldcrest Valley, and maybe even like Losberg and some of those, you have some fields that are ready to harvest. Here on this map, we do not have any fields that are ready to harvest as of yet. Everything that is pre-planted is in the growth stage, and you might see that we're sort of working down here on field 17. This is a field that you don't own by default, but we went ahead and purchased that field just because, again, we had that set up that way in Farm Sim 15, and so we use this to plant corn on for the BGA, and more about that later. But anyway, and yes, we are going to do biogas here on this map just because that's what we did on 15. So I'm really going to try to play this pretty much like I did with Farm Sim 15, and you'll just have to kind of come along with me because obviously, like I said, I recorded a lot of that. I was going to sort of start doing some gameplay on YouTube with Coldborough Park Farm on 15. That was probably, I don't know, 6 to maybe 9 months ago or so, but just never did it. So let's just go ahead, and what I want to do is, you know me, I don't really do map tours and that sort of stuff. We've got our equipment. We changed some of our equipment around. I added this really fast tractor. This is the one, the sort of the gift, if you will, that Giants put out on the mod hub for all of us. It's supposedly the fastest tractor on the planet, and obviously it's not going to be much use here on the fields with the tire situation, but I sort of thought it might come in handy moving stuff around from the store and stuff like that. And of course we're going with our Fendt harvester there just because I sort of like that, and we've got the Fendt 25-foot header backed in over there. So obviously those are modifications from the default starting equipment. Now, one thing that I have noticed, and I actually Landy Kid pointed this out on one of the videos that he released, even though you see seeds there, and there's fertilizer over where we were by the harvester, those appear to be non-functional. So I don't know if that will come along if that will come along in a future edit or a future update for this map. But if you remember from Farm Sim 15, this is where you got your solid and your liquid fertilizers and stuff, and your seeds was inside that area. Those are non-functional. So at least for now, we're going to have to purchase our seed and our fertilizer. We'll probably use the big bag stuff, and I will take care of getting that equipment or that fertilizer up here on the farm. I did update our truck just because the Toyota Hilux here is a little more fitting for this map than, say, the Chevy or Ford type pickup that you get with the default setup. Now, you might recall from Farm Sim 15, this was the equipment restaging point. That is no longer true for Farm Sim 17. The equipment restaging point is up on field number 23, which is up in the northwest corner up there. It's that grass field, that small grass field. That's where your equipment, if you reset it, that's where that equipment will go, and it no longer comes down here. So just a little bit of getting used to, but obviously not a big deal. So we're going to, I will just, show you. I'm going to get out of cab here with this just because the camera is a little bit wonky, I found out in this truck. Not sure if the fuel and stuff works here on the map. I suppose we'll try that once we get maybe to that point in our gameplay. But again, while we own quite a few of these fields, they are not yet available for harvest, and that's okay with us because again, it's early spring. Maybe game day number 2 we might see some stuff coming around for harvest, but again, that's not a big deal. One other thing that I did spot, if I come in to hit the escape key to bring up the map overview where we take a look at things. Obviously, all of our fields need to be plowed. I did go ahead and plow field 17, but if we needs plowing turned off, I don't know if this is a bug or not with what's going on here. So let's look at field number 2 as an example. So field number 2 is just this field right over. Well, let me get out and walk over there. So this is field number 2, okay? And if we come back to this map overview, and if we look at, obviously, field number 2 needs to be plowed, okay? I'm not going to worry about that right now. But look at this. It's not showing what level of fertilization it is. Now, we've not done anything with field number 2. We've not harvested it yet because it's not available. It should be ready to harvest probably the next day. But we don't even know what level of fertilization it is. Now, I did mow field number 22, so that may be why that is showing. So maybe it will show fertilization levels once we harvest this field, once it becomes available and we plow it and cultivate it and everything. But I'm pretty sure that with the other maps that I have played, so Old Streams and Goldcrest Valley are 2 modded maps that I've played. I'm pretty sure that you would see what the level of fertilization here is for this field. So not a big deal for right now because again, we'll just, wasn't really planning on fertilizing it anyway, I suppose. Yeah, so that's just something to look out for if you are going to play Coldborough Park Farm for yourself. So let me just kind of keep an eye on the time here. We're going to do a few things with in this episode, or at least we're going to try to do one thing in this episode, and that's finish cultivating that big field number 17 down there. But I did want to just kind of take you up and show you some of this stuff. So you might remember up to Yatton Farm is up this direction. If I can stay on the road and not run into the hedge. Just FYI, collisions are turned on for the trees, the telephone poles, but they're not turned on with the hedges. So yeah, and that's kind of helpful because with AI assistance, if you're going to do that, if you're going to farm that way, and I will plan to do some course play and some just basic AI farming if I survive this this drive up to Yatton Ridge Farm. Wow, it is just, sorry about that, folks. I am just sort of all over the place. This truck has got a little bit of pep to it, and I need to probably realize that that is the case. There's our horses there. They're just sort of fixed and don't really do much, as was the case with Farm Sim 15. But up here on Yatton Ridge Farm, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, we've got our chickens up here and we've also got our pigs. So we are going to run full animals on this farm. We're going to run, I think we've got 50 pigs, we've got 100 cows and sheep. So this is where these animals live. And we'll collect our eggs up here as well. So let's see. Oh, I wanted to point out to you that our good friend Eustace Pharmer did a very good, very detailed, something that has never been done before. He has really stepped outside of the box or the norm of how most folks do farm sim videos. You know, most guys will give you a map tour that's sort of like the prequel or the pre Let's Play series, and then they'll start doing everything, all the farming and stuff with episode 1. What Eustace has done is he's actually done a comparison, because BulletBill clearly states, and as we all know, and we knew this from the Farm Sim 15 days, that this map was very much a real life map, and it's where BulletBill lived and may still live. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, it has some history with him. Obviously we've mowed and belled this grass over here, so we'll be wrapping that at some point. But so Eustace Pharmer did a comparison video with FS17 and with real life Google Earth images, and it's pretty cool. I haven't got through the whole thing yet, but I'm working on it. So it's about, I don't know, it's about 15-17 minutes, something like that, I think, if memory serves me. I got about halfway through it and I got distracted, and then I wanted to do a video, and I will get back to it and finish it, because it's really cool. And it's cool to see the differences between how things are in real life versus how BulletBill has staged them. And so now I haven't tested this fertilizer and this seed up here. I'm just going to assume that they're also non-functional at this particular point in time. I did test the fertilizer and the seed at sort of what is the main farm where we sort of started the video from. And so yeah, so this is where our pigs, I'm sorry, this is where our sheep and our cows live. And if I can just remember to drive on the left side of the road, or as I like to say, the incorrect side of the road, and that'll get a comment from Reefy 1952, my dear friend Mike from the UK, and he'll certainly probably correct me on my understanding of the correct side of the road to drive on. But in any event, here we are. So we've reached our little field here that we're going to do a little bit of work on today. So we'll go ahead and hop out, and we'll head over to our nice big Fendt 1000 series. This is the mod, you know, this is the one that I sort of put on, I put this tractor on old streams, but it was too big, and I was playing with it. You know, it was I never really meant to probably use it on old stream, just because I knew it was too big. It was too big for that map. The beauty about Coldborough Park Farm, or at least this is my opinion, and you know, folks can correct me if I'm wrong, but the beauty about this map is that the map itself is relatively small, yet the fields are pretty good size. I mean, at least good size enough that you can use you know, a tractor like this. You can use a relatively wide cultivator on this particular map, and still play with that large equipment. Old stream, obviously very small, very tight, very tight working conditions, small fields, and you you can't use anything of this size cultivator. I mean, most of the fields with this cultivator, you could do them in about maybe 1.5 to 2 passes, or at least the fields that I've played around on and done any level of farming on. So with this map, we can still use some of the larger equipment. That will sort of help us save a little bit of time. I like using the large equipment. I tend to I tend to possibly use larger equipment maybe than might even be actually needed. That's just sort of, maybe that's my own personal fault. But I think for this map, I think, this size cultivator, again, I kind of, I'm going to do some of this stuff myself. I'm going to have Courseplay do some of this stuff as well. What I have found, and I do need to update my Courseplay. I'm running a version, slightly older version. Well, I say older, but it was probably from last week. And with Courseplay, it's changing quite rapidly. But I have found that there's an issue with courseplay and cultivating for whatever reason. I noticed this on when I was sort of prepping Chellington, although I never really did much with Chellington. I certainly never put it on the channel, but I had prepped a few fields, and I noticed that with courseplay and cultivating, the AI just doesn't know what the heck to do. And so I've noticed it with this as well. I was gonna have courseplay cultivate this, and yeah, I was even using a smaller cultivator at the time, and it did its first action, and then it started backing up, and it basically ended up in the other field still backing up, and I'm just not real sure what was going on with it. But and again, I pretty much noticed that with Chellington as well. But we must be reminded in the simple fact that courseplay is still very much beta. I mean, this is you know, it's got some problems. We know that those issues are being addressed, and it's quite possible that, you know, if I took the time to go out and get the latest and greatest version of the beta version of courseplay, that maybe those issues have been resolved, but maybe they haven't been. I don't know. Again, it's sort of just, you know, taking the time to do that, and you know, I just haven't been able to do it. The holidays, work, getting the Christmas special, getting the Goldcrest Valley Christmas special done, and just other things. Again, holidays, family stuff, and just, you know, putting my priorities in the correct order. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys and gals. You know, this is not any source of income for me. I still, as of yet, I've not turned monetization on for YouTube. If I do choose to do it, it will be only strictly because I will use that, what little bit I get from it, and it won't be much, for future giveaways. You're seeing this before New Year's, so I will remind you, if you're watching this, if you are interested in my Farm Sim 17 giveaway, to watch that video. You will need to watch the video that I released about a week and a half or so ago. That was a channel update that talked about the contest. You'll need to watch that video to get the information and the instructions on how you can register for that. Bottom line, you need to be a follower or a subscriber of my YouTube channel. I think that's only fair. The second requirement is you need to go over and register for a free account on the 3 Dudes Gaming Network, and you'll find a link in the show notes down below the video screen, and that's where you basically post a note in the forum to say that you're interested in being signed up for the giveaway. And I will do this giveaway after New Year's. I'll probably do the drawing and everything on New Year's Day, but again, I'm going to refer back to the fact that, you know, for me, this is an extension of my hobby. No, I'm not going to string that out where you guys aren't going to know who is going to win until like the middle of January or anything stupid like that. I'll get this done on New Year's Day. But, you know, I'm not planning on getting up super early at the crack of dawn on New Year's Day, because I plan on ringing in the new year, or at least as much as a 50-year-old man will do. It's been years since I've actually been awake for the actual New Year's time. I usually stay up and watch the ball drop in Times Square, which would be, you know, 10 o'clock my time. I'm 2 hours behind East Coast time, and usually I'm still awake when the ball drops or when it's New Year's in the Central Time Zone, but I have historically in the past sort of fallen asleep sometime between the New Year's in the Central Time Zone and New Year's in the Mountain Time Zone. But I am going to try to stay awake to see New Year's on my 50th year on this earth. I think it's probably a milestone that's worth seeing and ringing in. So again, the story that I'm sticking to is that, you know, I'm not going to bother about getting up at the crack of dawn to do that, but I'll get to it when I get to it, and you guys will know who wins quickly. Anywho, so again, this field is field number 17, and what I did with Farm Sim 15 was I had planted this field in corn, or even, you know, I used to even chaff up wheat or barley or whatever I had for the BGA. We're going to do the BGA just because I have really yet to do anything with the BGA since Farm Sim 17 has come out. I'm not really interested in doing it for the money, but you know, we're still going to play around with it just because, hey, it's there. So the map is absolutely beautiful, as you can tell. And you know I said a few episodes, possibly on Goldcrest, or maybe it was on old streams, I talked about one of the reasons why I chose not to do Chellington was because it was going to be heavily covered with a lot of the big names and everything, a lot of the big name YouTube farmers. And obviously Coldborough Park Farm will be the same. You know, Landy Kid has already started his series up. He's done quite well. Maybe you watch his channel, maybe you don't. I don't know. For me, this map, and the reason why I chose to go ahead and do a series, a Let's Play series on Coldborough Park Farm, is because this was the map in Farm Sim 15 which really took my exposure of not only British farming, but also fields with odd-shaped fields and stuff like that. I had sort of historically before that kind of stayed away from these types of fields just because, you know, it was a little more of a challenge to get AI to work, and you know, I like using AI. I like using it. You know, I don't necessarily go overboard with it, but I do like to use it. I sort of, you know, I like to have either, as I've done with role play, and I haven't decided how many employees we're going to have on Coldborough Park Farm, but we'll have some AI help, obviously, because it will definitely be needed. But I like to have the hired help and everything. And so when I started playing Coldborough Park Farm on Farm Sim 15, that was around the time that I sort of got exposed to Auto Combine, and I had already been using Courseplay for quite some time, but you know, as I have talked about before, I sort of feel like, and I think what we'll do is we'll grab a screenshot here just while I can, because I always forget this. My gosh, I am so lousy at remembering to get screenshots. I need to put a note or something on my monitor that says, do you have a we'll just go ahead and keep those off for now. Have you made your screenshot for your thumbnail yet? Because a lot of times I forget, and then I try to do the snapshot through my editing software, and if I've forgotten to remove the HUDs, then I'm having to do a lot of extra stuff. Anyway, so anyway, Coldborough Park Farm for me in Farm Sim 15 was that it was that farm, it was that the map that really got me away from doing exclusively square fields and such. And so I found that, you know, I could still get my fix for relatively large equipment, and I could still have fun and everything, but I could play on some of these odd-shaped fields. And if you've watched my channel for some time, you know that my wife is from Belgium. You know that we spend some holiday time every other year in the Kent area of England, and you may even know that my wife and I have talked about, and a lot of it just really depends on the economy and all this kind of stuff, and I'll also go ahead and say, you know, it's sort of global security, global safety and everything, but we have talked about retiring and relocating to the Kent area of England, you know, in the next 10 to 12 years. So once my wife and I retire from, or reach a point where that we can retire from our corporate way of life. And so even though this isn't necessarily in that same area, it's one of the finest done maps, and it's just beautiful. And he has done such a wonderful job in incorporating the changes, the additions to how things were in FarmSim 15, and the new functionalities and stuff, and the new textures and stuff in 17. BulletBill has just outdid himself. And yes, my question, and I even posted this question out on the forums, and asked BulletBill if the process of mucking out the cow shed was still in 17, and his response to me, and I asked this question a couple of weeks ago, his response to me was, well, you'll have to wait and see. And I sort of figured with that answer that the answer must be yes. Because you might remember, if you played this map in 15, you did have to do that on occasion. And while I appreciate and I enjoy the animal cleanliness process and everything with FarmSim 17, I sort of also wanted and hoped very much that the ability to muck out the cows and everything with 17 would still exist, and I have yet to play a map where we were allowed to do that. And so yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that process still exists, so you will have to muck out the sheds, and I'm assuming that we'll also have to clean up the spilt food from the animals as well. But the animals, right now the animals don't have any food. I will correct that, and don't know if it'll be done on video or if it'll be done off camera or whatever, but I'll update you all if I do decide to do that off camera, just because you've seen that quite a bit. But yeah, so Coldborough Park Farm, that's a tongue twister. Coldborough Park Farm, at least for an American, Coldborough Park Farm will become a mainstay here on this channel. I'm still going to do Goldcrest. We'll do a second series of Goldcrest just to carry that storyline and everything out, but this will become a mainstay here on this channel, at least, you know, for the near future. And we're doing obviously seasonal here, so it's early spring, it's day one. We're going to do 12 game days to the year. So early spring, or spring, summer, autumn, and fall will have 3 game days each, and we'll just see how it goes and see how much fun we can certainly have with this map. And I just absolutely love it, and I hope that everything is fully functional with it. But you know, knowing BulletBill and knowing the fact that this was put on the mod hub and this is also available for console, knowing that how Giant's testing process and everything is, I'm not expecting any problems like we had run into with some of the other maps that I attempted to do. So anyway, we have reached our point of about a half hour, about our 30-minute mark. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up and just say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking and commenting. Please go out and check out PCSG. You'll find me hanging out over at PCSG, as well as the Three Dudes Gaming Network. Both of those links are down below. If you're interested in mods that I'm running on my maps that you've seen in my videos, go to grizzlybearsims.com. Again, that's grizzlybearsims.com, and you'll find a mod spreadsheet that I keep updated with all of this stuff in it, as well as chat with me and get to know me through PCSG, and as well as the Three Dudes Gaming Network. Please check out the Three Dudes Gaming Network. The Three Dudes, that is Eustace, Pharmer, Mr. Species7, and TBF Gaming, as well as other friends of mine like Reefy1952, the Bipolar Prophet, Shawnee B31, Multi Mikey 123 is also a new partner of the Three Dudes Gaming Network, and great content, great episodes, great stuff that you're going to see. And then Wheels247 also is a new gaming associate or whatever for the Three Dudes Gaming Network, or network member. That's the correct terminology to use. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And you know, this will show up between Christmas and New Year, so we're still in 2016, and I'm certainly hopeful that 2017 is a solid year for all of us. And so yeah, so thanks for watching, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye bye now.